Hold on,
analyst.
Buff. Hold on.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Quasar Markets Live. Y'all love him. Y'all know him. Buff, Dormeyer. Listen, Buff, Kingsview Management, I'm going to let you go. You got it going on, and you've got a PowerPoint to show and some tickers to look at. So I'm going to get your hair and have fun.
All right. Thanks, Big Beat. Again, this is Buff Dormeyer, Chief Technical Analyst, Kingsview Investment Advisors. Also, I'm a index specialist at Monarch Funds ETFs, home of the volume factor. Let's get right into it. Okay, you can see here. This is by this chart. This is last week's campaign, and the campaign continues. Continues to fragment along familiar lines that we've been talking about. The broadening divergence remains our dominant theme, consistent with the broadening, wider, and deeper narrative that we're rotating away from narrow leadership into wider, broader, deeper ranks. And I see here that the S&P 500, my lieutenants, last week were down 128, and following right with them are our generals, the Qs. The spiders and the Qs down 128, 127 last week. Okay, but the more divergence here, the troops represented here by the Russell 2000 ETF IWN continue their recent doji pause and fell a more moderate 1 and 3 quarters 0.78%. Okay, but as we move to the broader, the RSP, the S&P equal weight, the cousin of the S&P 500 cap weight, was actually up 0.3%, and our quality dividend stocks, our brass commanders, finished up on the week 0.44% as our valuation charge continues. Okay, so with that, now let's take a look at more of the charts here. Okay, so here we have the S&P 500 last week. Okay, and what I want to note was that last Thursday, big downside volume right here, big black candle, big high downside volume without hardly any, just a wee bit of upside volume. That day represented approximately 96% of the daily flows were to the downside. That scores yet another 90% downside session again this week, following last week and maybe even the week before. We've been seeing lots of these clusters of downside capital weighted volume. That's not all that good of a sign if you're a bull. Okay. And then if we move on to the next day, again, higher than normal downside volume, and with low upside volume. So Friday closed on a doji candle. Dojis generally mean a pause. Okay, in this case, it could mean a pause in this downward move, but it also could mean a pause in the overall longer bullish term trend. So we'll see this week how this pause actually comes into play, if it does. Okay, so Friday, 82% of the volume to the downside. Now let's switch gears here from our daily chart, and we're going to move into a weekly chart. So we're going to using our Optima software here, and note this is the weekly chart, and notice this is the trend of capital weighted volume. Look at how it's starting to turn over on the shorter intermediate term. Again, another week after January started real slow, December finished real slow in volume. February has shown us strength in volume. And again, that was the case last week. Above average volume, above average downside volume, and below average upside volume. So approximately 65% of last week's capital flows were downside volume. So again, we're seeing here that downside volume is leaning heavily to the downside. Okay. Now let's take a look here at the trend of this. So let's look at capital weighted volume first, since we're talking about this particular subject. Give me a second. I'll pull that picture up for you. Okay, here we go. I'm going to move this over so you can see it a little better and make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, last week we talked about these higher lows and highs. This week, is going to we're still at their support level. This is what we're watching right here. Since these lows seem to be not be, we're going to watch level on capital weighted volume. Okay, this is our canary in the coal price. Keep in mind, price is the result, the effect. Volume, trading activity is the cause. And so this is our leading indicator. It's been coming down, still above trend. This area right here
Seems we've lost Buff here. We'll give a few minutes, wait for him to come back here. We apologize. Looks like Buff has lost internet. We'll get him back here in a little bit. But thanks for watching as right now.